Wahoo! Okay, we made it. We're here. Okay. No, yeah, we had some technical goblins. Still have some technical goblins, but that's okay.
They ate Cypress.
They ate Cypress.
Annoying.
Nine. Exactly. And then Astrid is a spacing. A floating space lady. Spacing flate lady for just a minute. But, such is life. It's fine. We're good.
All I want to be is a Laertes that gets to see a giant space lady.
There you go.
Oh, we're scramble leads.
Screw
Oh
it.
no!
Yeah, it's okay. Hold on. I just demorphed, but
Terra failed all 3 death Wi-Fi saving throws. We need a revive.
Something been terraformed? Come back
Oh,
to me.
no.
You're better.
Oh no!
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. All right. Hi guys, welcome to Tuesday. Woo! We are already almost done with January. What?
4 stream week.
Jude. Okay, so about that. So this week will be the first week in Silver Moon history that we have 4 streams running.
Thought you were about to say, actually, it's not happening.
No. For now, it's still happening. As far as I know, I know. As far as I know, as far as I know, we have 4. I'm not doing 5 or 10. I'm doing 4 streams this week, so that is wild. First time in history. So we have today. We'll have tomorrow. VTM. Yeah.
We're gonna teach some fuckers how to drive.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah. No. Sometimes you gotta start some point.
Sorry, you got your work cut out for you.
I'm
Need
gonna make
for
popcorn.
speed. No, need for blood.
Hey.
We're gonna call
and
the
the
episode "Blood Drive."
Ooh, oh, that's great.
Amazing.
I love that. Okay, we have that. Then Thursday, episode 2 of Age of Innovation, where we
What
see.
an intriguing start.
Yeah, that was a lot. I have not done that much exposition in a long time.
Also, holy number of NPCs, Batman.
There was so many pieces, so many moving pieces. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. We'll thin them out soon.
The
It's
Wheeler
fine.
Brothers days are numbered.
Or Solomon, the little twerp ran off on his own.
Don't split the party.
Don't split the party. First roll of D&D. It's fine. He doesn't know he's in a D&D game. He thinks he's immortal or whatever. So, typical kid, typical children. So yes, had a good time with that last Thursday. Looking forward to more reveals. And I was gonna say enrollments, but reveals was the correct word. I don't know what enrollments I was talking about. And then Friday, Twin Company returns with more Tales of the Hidden Path as we delve into who shot first, Martell or Martell. Akin or Akin, who shot first? Well, we'll see. Well, more to be determined later. But yes, looking forward to a lot of excitement this week, a lot of stories to be told. So it'll be pretty dope. Oh my gosh.
Oh no, we lost Astrid.
No, they're just dropping
You
like
hear me
flies.
fine.
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
I'm using a mobile hotspot because my internet is being so bad.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, we
I'm
can.
shocked this is working. I hope this doesn't use up too many gigabytes.
Too many gigabytes.
I'll survive
Sorry.
even if it does.
That was completely my fault. I accidentally pressed the button.
You know
I
what?
think it's fine.
It's fine. This is learning. It's a learning curve. It's fine. You're good. You're good.
We are deep beneath Thebes. It's no surprise that the
internet's
connectivity is a
spotty.
little crazy.
Yeah. All of that stone and
Haven't
other
converted our
things.
personal devices to like nuclear power
Yeah.
via Apollo yet.
Yeah, exactly. You got to sign into the underground Bluetooth, the Krios Bluetooth.
I'm still here. I'm gonna go reset my internet since I'm not using it.
Okay.
Anyway,
Sounds great. We're going right into the intro,
back
so
in less than a minute.
let's do this. Here we go. Okay. And we're back. All right, let's see here. Do this, do this, do this. And we're going to switch. There it is. Ares sits at the edge of the water. The sun tilts enough in the horizon of this world to begin turning the skies from blue to yellows to oranges, and catches the clouds above in a golden light. His heart beats steadily as he stares across the bay at the island city of Thebes. The time he had spent there had been perplexing, to say the least. Everywhere he looked, he saw faded memories. The buildings, the temples as they were called now, like seeing ghosts of a world so long gone. He had just gotten used to the role he played in this new world. Subdued as it had been, he had found purpose. He had found goals. And he had found love. He had allowed himself to grieve the loss of his old life. His sister. His child. And he barely remembered his wife before the migration. She, like the rest of that world, seemed more dream now after all of these years. In Thebes, his heart broke again. Part of him hoped he would see Phobon, somehow restored, somehow untouched, untainted. But another part of him knew better. He knew, through those faded dreamlike memories, that the plague knew exactly what you wanted to see, and would bring it in a form that would tear you out of reality enough for it to consume you. He saw no one in those crowded streets. He felt no presence. And no one, he asked, knew anything other than the terrors outside of the city walls. But nothing within. Everything here was perfect. Everyone here wanted for nothing. Maybe that was the problem. He hoped they had found nothing. He hoped they would find nothing. But he also knew better. Closing his eyes, he sent his mind spiraling out, searching for his mother. She would have to warn him. Within the halls of the Priory of Crete, within the sanctum of Hecate, she studied logs upon logs of data. Countless pieces of information that crossed across the screen, she read faster and faster. There was so much that had been lost, so much that was forgotten on purpose. There had to be answers somewhere. Living here, like on this planet, was like being mice in a box with a cat in the dark. Both circling, both just barely missing each other. But eventually, one of those would win out. The question is, who? And now the latest of our students were going into a lion's den. And there were so many lions. And despite everything, she could not really help them until just the right time. And she would be ready, she hoped. Cryos, there it was. The kinetic resonance integrated Orro system. Among the Titan constructs of the planet, its frequencies, yes, the power levels, structural layout, the output. Her eyes widened. There was no Titan construct that had these power levels stored. This was a lion's den in a very, very bad place. She was about to send a warning, but there was no way to reach them now. Not within range of Krios. Sitting back in her chair, she closes her eyes as dread sits in. This was his play. Well maneuvered, Phobos. Your father would be proud. Systems upon systems. Apollo's world was constantly sizzling. A frying of air around his body, through his body, what was left that could be counted as his body. They had found their way here, whether on their own or navigated by the fates. It didn't matter. It would be done soon, just as foreseen. 1,000 years. 1,000 years, and he could still feel the air escaping Python's lips, whispering to him the words, the plan, the pain, the hope. They had gambled before, and they gambled again. Apollo cycled his consciousness into form. For the moment, the rest of the world fell away, and the sizzle stopped. He opened new eyes and blinked rapidly. This wasn't perfect, but it would have to do. They would have questions, these new baby godlings, and he would have to do his best to see that they were prepared for what was to come. Laertes was going to be a force to be reckoned with. He saw the workings of Kronos within him, and that would be important. He saw the Astral, as she had become one of the first from a new generation to slip into the void, a navigator. Themisto had Python's blood, had Gaian blood. The impossible would become her shield, and her blade, if she used them. The boy prince had found a solid center, though perhaps wavering now in the presence of his weakness. There was a power to him. She had sensed it, she had seen it, and she had given him a boon. Let's see if he worked things out on his own. And Phoebe? So much he could say about her, and all of it burning with an inner fire he knew all too well. He was worried for her the most. Okay. So, as you all stand with excitement at the edges of the railing, there before you, this large cavernous space, the distant blistering ball of fire, a miniature sun held within a giant, or held on a giant pedestal here within this giant cavern, with the tubes of energy running from its base and up into the walls. A somewhat circular, almost donut shaped, somewhat circular pool of water that sits at the base. A little bit of the steam rising from the water itself. You heard Apollo's words, go down the stairs to the left, and he would meet you shortly. That shield that keeps the brilliantness of the sun, or kept the brilliantness of the sun back long enough for you to see the individual that seemed to be floating in its central space before it phased out again and just brought out this brilliant ball of light. You know that under normal circumstances, looking up at the sun would be blinding. Therefore, this cannot be the actual sun. Your mind starts to reason. The Miso. Yet here you see a sun, very much like you would imagine it, hanging in the sky above, only it's powerless. Or more. You heard the voice of Apollo speaking. The conflict rises within you from eyesight to belief, from belief to facts. Facts laid open directly before you. A turbulent time. What are you guys doing?
Heading to the meeting place.
Yeah, has everyone coalesced in one spot with us?
Yeah. Yes.
Then, yeah, just look to everybody very resolutely. And, I have to say I don't know exactly what comes next, but we'll make it through it. It is good that he wants to tell us more about this place. I'm happy we found him.
This place looks just like the one I saw in the sky.
The sun.
Yes.
Hmm.
The when Astra brought me out to the sky to see what lies beyond. It's just like this.
That is amazing to me. Perhaps there was something to it. Apollo and his chariot hiding here.
You look around you. For player description, this space kind of looks like almost like what you would imagine like a control center would look like, with that the metal grated flooring, the guardrails up in front, the two buildings on either side. That first, as you had walked out or walked in this hallway to get to this point, as you had like passed those double doors, remember? And you got to this point, they had looked like just parts of the hallway, but now that you have stepped out into this cavern, you can see that they're actually like set into the rock face of the wall. So where to your back, these buildings to your left and your right kind of just start the gentle slope of this massive cavern to the other side. You can see both to your left and your right. There's like a 5-foot walkway on either side that goes to these windows that are like black glass, basically. You can't see inside, but you can see that there's this black, like shaded glass that goes like 2 spaces this way and 2 spaces that way. And in front of that walkway, there's those 2 staircases that run, or 2 metal cases that run on either side downwards to a second floor below.
Could we check their rooms we passed when we entered? Would he want us to know?
We check them before we go talk to him.
DM.
Hmm.
Is there any kind of signage, any indication on any of these doors we're passing by?
I believe that you had only technically passed by 2 doors.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple of hallways, but you had passed by 2. One said MK, MK unit. The other one, the other door, which is in the hallway just behind you, there was no signage for it.
It
But-
is a silly thing to me, but you know, when we enter the temple first, you go to the side and anoint yourself with oil, and then to another room for the incense. So I thought of it in this way, but I know that we are not in a temple now.
As you say that, the you guys hear the hiss of a doorway opening. And to the left, at the bottom of the stairs, you can see that in the wall there was a somewhat of a recessed door. It doesn't look like a normal door for you because it's just like it's the doorway, but there's no door handle.
It's just
There's
like so flush.
It's just so flush that it's just barely like maybe an inch or two into the wall. But that door slides over to the side. And from it, a being emerges. Hold on, let me change this real quick. It's a lot more dramatic than it needed to be.
He's here to murder us.
This being that walks out is golden. Their skin reflects the light that comes from the sun. A blue cloth kind of wraps around from shoulders down to the sides of their body. But for all intents and purposes, this body is devoid of clothing aside from this blue. Curiously enough, though, his skin is metallic in nature. It takes
So, gonna go throw my arms around his neck.
This individual, as they walk out, the human face, a human-like face is there, but it is made of metals. And as you run down the stairs and wrap your arms around him to give him this embrace, your mind kind of does like this like weird like what the hell am I running up to kind of thing, because you know this was the direction he said to go, but this is not not who you expected to walk out. And the individual just kind of like takes the impact of your lunging hug, kind of takes a step back, and then just kind of like slowly brings hands down. Your mind expects cold, but there is a warmth to him. And the gentleness and even the metal seems soft in some way. It looks hard and shiny by looking at it, but upon touching it doesn't, it's not like skin soft, it's not like squishy or anything, but it definitely has a little more give to it than you would have imagined. And he pushes back, and you look up into these eyes of light. They're not bright, they're not like hard to look at, they just glow. And there is a movement within, as if you can see an iris or pupil of light, a dimmer light within it, like something that is moving inside of the light itself. So it gives the illusion of looking at like an eye, and it has that same little micro movements and stuff that you can look up to and read, but they are not organic. And the voice that comes out is that of Apollo.
I would know you in any form.
You say that, but I don't think that that's necessarily true. It is.
Still comes down the stairs.
You see Apollo bow before you. He does this polite low bow with his arm like kind of going out to the side just a little bit.
The Misto like kind of like panicky, like I gotta bow lower than you.
He sees you do this and like, no. We are family.
Could it be? Apollo stands before us again.
Well, one sort of Apollo. He looks over at the rest of the gang as they're like walking down the stairs, following behind the two anxious Apollo acolytes. He nods, looks over at Astrid, Cyprus, Laertes, Davos, Prince, and as he says Prince, he like does another bow again. It's okay. It's okay, Tara. We know you're here. Padoop. All right. As you, what you're gonna say, Astrid?
Oh, just Esther will bow as well, respectfully.
Badoop. Badoop. It's okay. Don't make that face. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. He pulls back from Phoebe. Says, "Come. Follow me." He turns on his heel. There's like a little bit of, you can hear the whirling of joints in like gear, just barely perceptible as he walks. There's not really a loud clunking sound as he it's not like that, but it's just enough to where it's like, if you're looking for it, you can hear the servos moving within his body. And the door opens once again as he approaches, and he steps into this other room.
Grab Themisto's hand as we walk forward.
Going to make sure that we usher everyone right alongside us.
Laertes, what were we gonna say?
I'm going to make a point to be walking at the back of the crowd as I'm just scanning everything, including Apollo.
Initially, Themisto is going to kind of look back, and some of her snakes are going to linger when she turns back around, but sort of the, almost Laertes, what? Oh, I see. And then I think she gets that you're just doing your
he's
thing.
doing the hyper awareness. I'm looking at everything very carefully.
Somebody's got to, because Phoebe is just like,
No, she's lost in that sauce.
yeah.
And Themisto's seen you linger looking at Hecate's portals and things before, so...
Make a perception check for me.
Yep. I can sometimes do that. Apparently today I can. 25.
25. Very nice. What is it exactly that you are... Is there anything particular you're just like taking it all in, or is there anything you're looking for particularly?
More just situational awareness and trying to understand more of what I'm looking at vis-a-vis the interior and Apollo himself. Because I can't help but think of the first quote unquote in the flesh interaction with Apollo was not real. That was a facsimile. And we're getting some semblance of that now, but I also don't know how coming to this universe has transformed each individual Orphic.
Right.
So is that because that's what he is at his core, or his next avatar?
Right. I will say, as you're doing this and you're like looking around, you look, your mind and then your eyes go back to that floating ball of light and back to this person. And you want,
got it.
yeah, you wonder, right? You kind of can't help but wonder, like you said, what it is that you are looking at exactly. By description alone, this is a golden man, right? So maybe, but also it also doesn't have any of the, it doesn't have hair, so there's no representation of like the statues of Apollo that you have seen across the ancient Greek world. So who was this? You know what I mean? There's like, who
Do
are
any
you?
of the statues of Ares match the Ares that we have personally met?
In a sense, yes. In a sense that
Gets his bearing, but not his exact feature.
Well,
Kind of thing.
correct. So a lot of the statues, some of the statues of Ares will have him in full armor. So you don't see his face. But the armor is very similar in style to, it's like someone having seen somebody once and then redoing the image, the statue by memory. So there is enough of the details that are there that are like, oh, this is exactly how he looks like, but there's some skewed things versus someone's like standing there as a model for said person. There are aspects of his face that almost match, like maybe he's like certain cheekbone structures for this golden man versus the statues of Apollo. But other than that, that's where the similarity ends in this case. You think, if you are indeed thinking back to when you first met this child Apollo, there is a
Like a youth Apollo statue.
yeah, well, no, there is more of a similarity there because you could kind of see where that golden haired boy could grow to be said man. But still, like, obviously there were some differences there too. But yes. So yeah, there's a little bit of enough to where it's like, there's not really the uncanny valley here that you would have expected.
Okay. Thank you for the detour.
Of course. You go into this room and it's a it's almost like a lounge sort of space. There is a hello, Astrid. There is a level of lounge for player description. Lounge with almost like a little bit of a laboratory kind of feel. You can see that there are some desks and tables, and they seem to have nothing on them. They're very sparse, but they are lit from above and below, so they create this like brilliant ambient light. Everything has that like Apple Store brilliance-ness to them to it. Okay. It's like a lot of white walls, a lot of light that seems to be coming from hidden places. So it just, for your characters, it's going to feel extremely alien and also extremely heavenly, I guess you could say, in a sense. And just that there's just this suffused white light everywhere, and everything seems so pristine and clean and untouched. And you see that there is a seating area, and it's similar in style to some of the couches and divans that you have seen before, but these also look different. They're definitely a lot plushier than what you are used to, and very little wood is seen anywhere in here. Please sit wherever you like. I'm sure you are hungry. Perhaps, do you desire anything?
Answers.
The man nods. I would imagine as much.
Maybe a fig.
A fig. Okay. He goes over to one of the counters, opens a drawer, brings out some small gray cubes of things, puts it on the table. You see a hand go over it, and he whisks his fingers around, and cube shifts to shape into figs. As he makes figs for you, just like, and brings them over on a small silver plate.
Amazing. Thank you.
It is. You will learn to do something similar one day.
I can't wait.
Don't rush things. Believe me, it makes life simpler and more complicated all at once. Is everybody sitting?
Mhm.
So he kind of stands to where he is easily viewed by everyone, almost like a Laertes. You get a sudden role reversal would not be the completely correct term, but it wouldn't be the incorrect one either, in that he is standing and presenting himself like you have done to students before.
First question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
When we address you, are we talking to Apollo proper? Or are we talking to that miniature Blaze?
Yes. Put simply, I am both. I know you have a mind for these things, so I will try and speak as simply and detailed as possible. I can cast my essence to things. So in this case, you are speaking to Apollon de Oros. That was my old name. Most just call me Apollo now.
And every time
You're
you were
many asking.
Theodoros.
You, Phoebe.
And every time you were Theodoros.
That was not me.
That was not you.
It was, but is not. I could see through his eyes. Theodoros and a few others were a form of replication. But I gave them their own will, their own life. And I experienced things through them anew. But it was like watching a dream. I did not want to take from their learning and gaining knowledge on their own. Seeing the way life could be.
So I grew up knowing him, but not you.
Both are true. They experience life in their own unique ways. But they also were made using my life, my essence as a base. They were... He's like looking for a word to describe a clone. They were me, but they lived a separate life from my own. They had some of my memories. They carried some of my knowledge, but there were things that I did not instill in them that they learned on their own. So, while yes, you grew up knowing me, and I grew up, and I watched them grow with you, they also were like my children. If a parent could see through their child's eyes.
So are Diodoros. He is lost now.
He looks down at the center of the floor between all of you. I am afraid, yes. That, Diodoros. There were 3 that I made. And he was the last.
It's, it is hard not to be sad about this.
As I would imagine it would be. It is a strange thing to mourn the loss of someone you view as a child, but also a version of yourself. They, their life, their experiences are always going to be a part of me as I experience things through their consciousness of their own. But I wanted to make sure that they had the free will with the knowledge that I had to a degree. I could not give them everything. I'll say Astrid.
That's not wrong either. The raspiness in his voice. Could I try to clock if that's something that's like there's something that's afflicting him, or is that just how his voice sounds? It's just raspy.
Sure. Like an insight check.
Mm-hmm. 15.
There. Let's see. How do I put this? I would say there's a level of it that's kind of hard to tell, only because
I'm not looking at him.
correct. You're hearing his voice through a metallic mouth that moves as he speaks. The lips kind of like you see them kind of like these tiny minuscule little ridges that kind of move to form the correct words. So there's a raspiness to his voice that it probably exists just because of the way that is coming out of his mouth. But he definitely sounds older, which stands,
I'm tired.
yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Let's see here.
You said you could hear us, our prayers. What else do you know about what has happened?
Most. One of the gifts is of my situation is a lot of free time. Just the same as Hecate keeps an eye on you, so did I. There are times when I would focus my attention elsewhere. A curious thing. Our time here has brought to us as of late. When we can hear prayer, and that is a new thing for most of us within the last few hundred years. I don't know what exactly it means.
And you mean as if our belief in you as the gods has made you the gods.
That is one of the theories. Our power has grown stronger since we have arrived here. Just as with anything. Just as your power has grown stronger the more you use it. And this been, what? Such a short time since you have discovered it? Imagine what 1,000 years will do.
Manifested from need.
And you, your true form, has been trapped here this whole time. Since you arrived.
No. No, not since I arrived. But since the fall.
Apollo, I had a vision of a difficult moment for you.
If you could see sadness on her android's face, you can see the shifting of his eyes, the pursing of his lips. Oh.
Yes. Of you and Python. Of Gaia, of what happened.
A dagger could not have been plunged deeper into his heart. Ah. That one.
Yeah. It was hard for Gaia, of course, but I think your face would bring more comfort than anything else at this point. She longs to see everyone here again.
What do you mean?
I don't understand the connection myself entirely, how I came to be here, but I know now that there is another place that bears her name, that I am of it in a way. Somehow. Perhaps my parents were always telling me that I was close to her, that she was near. It sticks. I have reached her. At Mighty Atlas.
You've spoken to Gaia? You see the hands that had been just casually at his side, like, shake and then clench and then, like, release. And he takes a step towards you and goes to one knee. Is she well?
She said that Gaia, the place, it yet lives. She is waiting for it to be safe.
They live. Do the others know?
I have told that Lady Hecate and Lord Ares.
So not everybody knows then. They do like to keep their little secrets, and they're spat with the rest of the Olympians. Makes things
It was they
tricky.
that told us to search you out, so...
I bet.
What do you mean by that?
They are ever on the move, those two. This is part of the reason that they were banned from Olympus. Meh, banned is probably a harsher term than the truth, but definitely not amongst the most welcome in the Citadel. That is good news. Though I can't help but wonder how long it will be until everyone is safe enough to be reunited again.
We would like to help bring that about if we can. We have been chasing these fragments across the world. For the most part, I think we are doing good work, but things are dangerous now. She looks to everybody, realizing she's been speaking quite a lot.
His face kind of hardens a little bit when you mention the fragments. And he stands back up again.
One was supposed to head here, to Thebes.
I'm sure.
After you.
What?
After you.
Oh,
Looking for you. Just as we have been.
yes. I know. I am aware.
Hello. You said you came here after the fall. Was it by choice or necessity?
A little bit of both, I suppose. I came here of my own will. But I find that there are few places on this world now that can house me, if it were put in such a way. He looks out towards the door that you guys came from. You have seen my true form.
It's brilliant, like the sun itself.
It is very much like the sun itself.
That's what Phobos wants. We were told you had the keys to a chariot. As we have learned, I think your chariot moves amongst the stars more than pulling the sun across the earth.
It definitely moves across the stars. I know what he wants. What the plague wants. To find their master. To find where they belong. And the chariot is their hopeful means to an end.
And it's here.
He just smiles.
It is here. We're standing in it,
is.
aren't we?
The Krios? No. Krios, like the other Titans, were built for a purpose. The Krios powers. It powers. It usually runs on, movement, rotation. It was a very intricate device, allowing for incredible amounts of power to the settlements, the cities, the sanctuaries. But now that does not really matter as much. Only a few of the sanctuaries remain. Most of the cities do not use any sort of power that is generated here. But it offers a place for me to hide away. It offers a place that I cannot be sensed. And I cannot burn everything around me. You have fought fragments of a fragment of a fragment. Whatever horrors and terrible things you have seen are the sands on the beach. Sands that would go back to a desert if it ever found its way back to the original master, to the original malevolent force that is the plague.
That's how grand it is.
He looks at Astrid very pointedly. You have seen what lies beyond the horizon. You have seen the field of stars. We have come from a place where those stars no longer exist, blotted out by inky, black darkness, a void with no light. Imagine all of those stars and all of the people that lived amongst them. That is what we fled from. And that is what we hope to avoid unleashing on this new home of ours.
All of that life, potential, energy, the beauty of those places are just gone now. How many others before you?
How many people? Have you ever counted the sands, the grains of sand that spread around all of the known world? Take a handful of that sand. Those were the ones that survived. It is a malevolent thing, and we know not why it hunted us so brutally. But you have seen its single-minded efforts, have you not?
All too well. We have done our best to fight it, to understand it, to heal what we can.
He looks over at Laertes. A small smile. Interesting hypothesis you had.
Which one?
That there would be any way to cure that which is gone. You've heard the story of Pandora.
Mm-hmm.
She had similar aspirations as your own. She meant well. She may have been onto something. But the time, the fragment she possessed was controllable, malleable. But it knew what it wanted. And it knew how to wait. I'm not saying what you did not help. But I am saying that what you did it knows when it's not wanted. And it knows how to bide its time to the proper place. That has been one of the hardest parts of fighting it. And why we have, well, why Zeus has decreed that we not endanger ourselves until it weakens itself enough again. I'm sorry. He nods his head towards your side, Themisto. The little plant.
Misto looks down towards the wheat.
It's dying.
Ugh. We had to try. If it is time that the Hades takes him, then it is time.
Davos, with like a dead stare, turns away from everybody and like walks to a corner. Asclepios is trying his best to keep him alive, but the infection, the plague, wanted to see where we were taking it. It bides its time. And I feel and fear that it is preparing to make a move. You've noticed it gathering forces.
Yes, these attacks.
Hecate and Ares have been working on strategies and plans to try and find the truth. To find the reasoning why. Whether by accident or design, I am not affected by Zeus's commands. They have certain things that have been hidden from them. And now you being here, and I know at least two of you, without a shadow of a doubt, are not infected.
Only two of us.
I've only touched two of you.
You can sense these things.
Yes. But only by touch.
Ah, therein lies the rub.
Yes. He reaches over and extends his hand to you, Laertes.
He visibly hesitates on that because he knows he's been at least attacked directly by. Oh, what was the one named in Sparta? Can't recall the top of my head now.
Was it an ooh
I'll
name?
look. I'll keep going.
Yeah, it was an O name, yeah.
Nagoosh.
Nagoosh.
Yeah.
Nagoosh. Nagooch.
Yes, Nagooch.
Considering I have been momentarily connected to one, would it not be smarter to not reach out to you? If you're saying that it can lay dormant, perfect vector.
I am not in the room.
Well, you are playing both sides then. You're saying that you are here and yet you're not. You're doing it through touch and yet not.
Yes.
So, were I to be infected, it would not compromise you in any way.
It would compromise this body. And
You
it
would have to
would...
take care of it.
He's the last one left.
No. Much easier it is to cast oneself than to create a new life.
Then, for further follow-up, Eris and Hecate sent us out because we're so new, so unpowered in comparison that were we infected, we would be easily dealt with. At least in comparison.
In comparison.
So while this body is not truly you, where does it lie on the scale? How much of a problem would we be creating for this world were it compromised?
A second sun.
Is this what happened to Helios?
Helios only partially died to the plague. He was in the throes of corruption when he was slain. It did not absorb him fully. And the same can be said of anyone corrupted. It is a bitter and harsh mercy to slay one's loved ones before they are fully gone. But only in doing it before they are fully gone do you save them from an eternity within its mass. If the plague reaches the center, then all is lost. Your memories your desires, your dreams, everything you ever were becomes well known to it. And by extension, anything it knows of you and your friends and your family, it takes that knowledge and uses it against everyone. That is how we fell so fast.
Then we need to know before we face it again. If one of us was infected and it latched onto you, we would need to burn this body immediately, wouldn't we?
Cast off the head. Burn both.
You can do this.
Cypress, you can take the first step. I will take the second, if necessary.
How resilient is this body you're wearing?
This one now, it's made of metal. Well, metals. Things that are lost to the smiths of this age. But perhaps one day will be found again.
Would it fight us?
Here?
This version of yourself?
Oh. Sure. If I was to leave, do you see everything that was a light? You see the eyes go dark first, and the body stays motionless. And then even the metal itself loses its luster and becomes dull, unreflective, as it just like powers down. This being that stands before you, looking not quite of metal, not quite of flesh, but devoid of all life. And it's very haunting to just see something just like, with no eyelids, you know, it just has the eyes that just black right on the inside. And then, like, watching water fill a bowl, you see it light up from like top to bottom as if it just like gets filled with essence once again. And the lights burst to life. And that flesh becomes solid, becomes almost metallic, gives it that luster once again of the gold.
Astarion, you will need to be checked as well.
This body is currently fine. I can sense it through, as I said, touch, but I understand the concerns that Laertes has. What if this were to infect this metal coil only to infect my mind? But it needs flesh. As of right now, my body is actually very little flesh.
Perhaps that is the key to fighting this thing in the future. We need Smiths to learn how to do this again.
Perhaps.
Aye, we could have a metal asteroid.
This is not a bad idea. But it would take a well-seasoned mind to be able to cast one's influence into such a thing. But the potentially could be done. Given enough time to rebuild what was lost. He extends now his hand to Astrid. You clasp these, like, you expect cold metal fingers, but you feel this surprising warmth come from them. It's like, it's almost human in the sense of a warm hand, but it comes from this, like, not squishy flesh, but not quite like solid material. And it's a very like, what am I touching kind of thing for, I guess, to kind of try it. Like, yeah, it's kind of, it gives almost, it's not like soft or givey like a silicone hand would be or anything like that, but it's not quite plastic either because it has a little bit of give. So almost like a rubber, but if the rubber had like a more of a metallic sheen, yeah. And it gave off this warmth. You can feel then the warmth that like spreads through your body. And then pulls back. The eyes kind of blink, flicker a little bit as he like senses you. And then as he pulls back, you have seen. You are a very unique thing. I have never actually interacted with an astral before. I've spoken to them, but not. And he like squeezes his hand. I haven't seen one since the fall. And even at that time, there were only, what? A handful? 5, 7? That had made it across the migration.
Astra lives.
This is good.
And there's something on the moon.
He does like a face of like, yes, there is. You have seen much?
Saw Saturn. Know its beauty. Compared to a place that Astra loved.
Many of the homes in the Imperium were indescribable in their beauty. Not to say that we are in a dump, as this world is very pretty, but that there's a lot of things that we miss, that it does not have. At least not yet. Maybe one day. He looks back over at Laertes. I sense you have many burning questions. I don't make the pun lightly. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Graham is very happy right now. The self-inflicted psychic damage you give yourself is just... I suppose my questions will have to wait until we answer the most burning one. Actually, before he does that, he's going to take off his satchel. And of all the people in the room, he's going to hand the little bizarre reforged crystal out to Cypress. Just in case.
You see his eyes follow that for a second. Wow. Impressive.
Maybe I'll answer some of your questions later.
Is that Cleo's side?
One question at a time.
Never in all my years. Like,
Don't worry, he's always this frustrating. It's not just for you.
he reaches over and like clasps your hand. He clasps it in such a way
Did
that
anyone
like
else hear boss music?
he clasps it in such a way that like his finger goes down your wrist a little bit, almost like where you would like press for a pulse.
Hmm.
And you too feel that warmth go through you.
It's like when
Yes.
the son of Asclepios did that.
Very similar sensation. There's a slight reinvigoration almost as he pulls back again. He bows his head down, then looks up. You're fine.
At that, he does sit down rather heavily.
Astrid wants to give you a hug because that was scary.
Is the hug for Laertes or for Astrid or
Yes.
for Sonder?
Yes.
Yes.
Cypress will return the gem to him.
Thank you. But yeah, he'll return the hug.
Cypress.
I imagine Asterion is still nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Cypress tries to, and he's not good at it, to convey a very complicated look of what this could mean if it goes one way or another to Asterion. Likely fails and will turn back to the golem.
He takes your hand. You feel this warmth wash over you. Asterion, you had looked back at him, had this like odd questioning, odd as in like AWED. He's in awe, and also like questioning like what he is seeing. Everything is just right. So there's a little bit of like, what? But he seems to try and give you reassurance, like, go, do it. And you grasp the hand, and Apollo pulls away. Impressive. You have a hidden strength to you. But you are also fine. He looks over at Davos. And Davos, who's still over by the wall. Apollo goes over to him. Places a hand on his shoulder to like turn him to face him. And cups his chin in his hand. You can hear him whispering something. You can roll perception if you wish to try and list over here, but
I totally want to drop some leaves.
I do not hear
No. Oh, terrible.
anything. I rolled better than I did.
I'm not going to roll.
okay.
The Misto got a 26.
26.
3.
Makes sense that you get to hear about your guardianing.
Wait, what did you say yours was, Cypress?
3.
3? Oh, I thought you said 30 for a
Insight?
second. I was like,
No.
I was like 30. Damn, good
My
job.
He rolled a
swan doesn't
D100,
get
that's
you
why.
that high.
Cypress's insight is only that high if it's an old lady.
That's probably actually very accurate.
Apollo's presenting mask, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He, Themisto, you hear him whisper, "The pain will stay for a while. But eventually, it goes away. I promise."
If
He
the
tur-
Mister were to do an insight check on that statement, knowing the way he reacted to hearing Python's name, I think she might not entirely believe it. But I think that she knows that it gets easier over time, or at least lessens, doesn't become as much of a constant.
Yeah. He turns away. He's fine.
Astarion,
What?
I know you don't fully understand, but you have to be tested. See if you're infected with the plague.
I don't even know what plague you're talking about.
The cult of Phobos was headed here to Thebes, and we don't know if it arrived before we did.
Aye, Menega was ahead of us, and she's a shapeshifter, so
What does that have to do with me?
she persuades people's minds.
You could be infected and not know, but we need to know. If you are here with us, with Cyprus.
I'm gonna go over to Laertes and ask him to do his primeval awareness on the
As
boy.
you, okay.
I assume you haven't left my side. We've still
Yeah.
been sitting on the couch, canoodling. I would need to talk to Apollo about that because I don't think I can accurately.
You were as you were talking, you see that hold on.
In
You see-
whispered tones, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Okay.
Astarion's stepping back towards the wall. You can see he looks terrified. Like, what?
Don't hurt. He just needs to hold your hand.
It was very
Can-
healthy.
It'll be fine.
Apollo takes a couple of steps towards him, and it's like this, like a scene from a sci-fi movie of like the android that just coldly walks forward, and you're like, well, he's like,
hurt a bit until I
yeah.
did.
He's like, no, I promise you, I've only been in, I haven't even left the palace. Like, you can ask Cyprus. I've never left. I've never go anywhere.
Astarion, you see, we're
Cyprus
all
will-
fine.
Cypress will try to reach out and take his hand, his other one.
Apollo grabs in 3 steps is at his side and grabs onto shoulder and hand. And in the same blink of an eye, pulls hand back. And the hand becomes a blade, and he stabs it up into Astarion. And that's where we're going to go to break.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Aaron!
Yep, I figured.
Oh my
Janasi, oops, did I do that? Okay. So
Guess we'll mark him down as a maybe.
just got here.
No.
We will
Yeah.
we'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere.
10 minutes ago, I
Astarion
messaged
or
Iskra.
Astarion? gonna miss Asterion.
Your
I'm
timing
hiding
is
the wound.
your timing is terrible. Okay.
Kronos would disagree.
hmm Your I would say sorry, my computer's surprised me. The 9 o'clock change of coloration for everything just like shifted all at once. Like there is a moment when you're watching Asterion start to back up against the wall. You can see that he is uncomfortable, scared, and is like moving away from Apollo. And Apollo's only gotten to like the fourth, like 3 or 4 steps away from him. And that calm walk suddenly shifts, and in inhuman bursts of speed, he comes and like flings himself up to Asterion, places a hand on his shoulder, places a hand on his arm, just the same way he had done to everybody else. And in the space of like a second or two, the hand pulls back, the hand kind of like comes together, and like the fingers pull out, so it becomes more of a blade, and he slices it up into Asterion's midsection. Poof, and you can see Asterion lift off the ground. And a screech, unlike anything a human can make, suddenly fills the room.
I want to cast Burning Hands.
As that screech lifts off, and the burning hands, you like step up, burning hands. I mean, it's a thing, so it's gonna cover Apollo as well. But
he's metallic. I'm gonna cast it at 3rd level. I'm gonna upcast it. So the Asterion, the creature, whatever, I guess Apollo as well, needs to make a dex saving throw.
I hope Apollo is fire resistant. One would hope, imagine so.
He's actually water cooled. That's the weird thing.
That's good. Let's do this at disadvantage, because it is being held currently. Oh, that makes more sense. I rolled a 3, so full damage.
Okay, 20 points of fire damage for him.
Okay. The fire
Let me mark off my focus points.
blasts against the wall. For a moment, it's just this bright light as the fire cones outwards and covers Apollo and Asterion. As the fire pulls back and away, you can see the cloth that Robo Apollo was wearing is now like falling. I mean, it wasn't covering anything. There were no dangly bits. It was just droid body. And then as that burns and falls away, not Asterion is on the wall. You can see this blade is carved up into a humanoid being. The clothing is already burning and falling off. But where the similarities of Asterion were, have now become this grayish, hard to distinguish creature. It is not Asterion. And the arms flail out to the side as if you've seen in plenty of movies whenever like a droid gets unplugged and it's just like spasming out. It's the same kind of like twisting of its limbs in ways that aren't crunching like they should, considering that it would be breaking bones. It's just like random short circuiting, and then it like reverts back to a human form, and you see its face switch 3 times. It becomes Asterion, it becomes another human, it becomes a Triton, it becomes a different human again. It's just like it's shape shifting its face before it becomes gray again, and the blade of Apollo goes up even further, all the way up through and back out again. What were you gonna say, Astrid?
Astrid wants to look at Cypress. and check its reaction.
This all happened so fast that Cypress was mid calm stride, extending a hand to take Asterian's to comfort him seemingly in this process. And he is just stricken in this moment. There's horror in his face for a number of different things, but he is momentarily too stunned to even grasp fully what might be happening. But the imagery and potential of what this imagery literally is and means is doing him great harm.
Astrid wants to stand up, grab Cypress, and pull him away. If she can.
The creature falls like to hands and knees and then writhes on the ground. He kneels down, and with the arm rotating at the elbow like a circle, just goes, and the head rolls. I'm going to need fire.
Is
More.
it not still on fire?
More. And then, barring anybody else walking up to assist with this, he looks up at Cypress. I'm sorry, but that was not who you thought it was.
Where is he then?
You can see the eyes kind of like doing a search. I have not seen Astarion. I would need to have seen him. I have only seen this likeness. My scrying cannot find the man that I do not know. Phoebe.
Phoebe went first.
I'll cast Radiant Sunbolt as my attack action as many times as needed.
Okay, yeah. And then he takes one of the, as he stands, the bladed hand. Let me make sure this is something I can actually do. Yeah, this is okay. Along with you, he does a little hand gesture and a flame. He takes one of your bolts of flame and he takes it and turns it into his own like larger like splash. It like as soon as it hits, instead of just hitting and dissipating, it hits and like lays out over the body, and he just kind of extends both his hands like he's controlling the flame for a moment, and the room starts to fill with a smoke, this black sickly smoke. You see him as he does that, he turns his head and there are vents on the top corners of the wall that now open, and you can hear and feel the air kind of like getting pulled out as like the air cycle is being the hair on your head kind of like starts to wave around a little bit as it's like almost like depressurization of the air as it like sucking the smoke out. Apollo looks back over at Cypress.
He's dropped to his knees.
You
I'm
are
infected now,
No, you are not. I've already checked.
but he's touched me.
But you were not infected. I would have sensed that. I sensed his infection. This thing that was posing as someone else.
What if he's already dead then?
We will find
Here,
it.
he wrote me this, and he will reach out for the first bit of the epic poem that Asterion had been writing for him before he left.
You
Can you
remember,
find him with this?
you hand it over to Apollo with your hands trembling, and your mind goes back to the moment whenever you showed him and you asked him if he knew what you had written. And he hesitated. You almost drop the letter from your hand as Apollo grabs it.
He didn't know what my fear was.
Ah,
And he goes blank for Apollo just goes blank for a moment, like he's scanning, searching.
um, I want to have Astrid reach a hand out. Use me. Drop this barrier if it is you. Use me.
Apollo comes back. I cannot scry anything. I'm so foolish. I could find a way to see if he's alive. I was caught up in the moment. I am sorry. I have not had to face something that has been touched by the plague in a very, very long time. I
We're
had
looking
to,
for him. Reveal yourself to them.
There's a curious thing about Krios. The amount of power that it creates acts as a camouflage. The unforeseen byproduct of our attunement to this universe, us Orphics. We cannot divine things within Thebes as long as Krios is active. But what prevents us from divining also prevents Phobos from finding things here. Me,
There's no way to attune to it.
no. It is a static. If I turn Krios off, it will give us advantages here, but it will also open the way for him to know everything.
And then once we have done what we need to do here, and we get back out into the city, we will find a way to find Asterion.
How long has he been him?
I cannot say.
Um,
He takes a couple of steps over to Cyprus and looks to try and get either in your line of sight, because I'm imagining you were staring off, right? Either tries to get into your line of sight or move your head so you can look into his eyes.
He will resist the guiding of his head, but will meet his gaze after that.
Sometimes beyond our Orphic power, our hearts do things. What does yours tell you?
I don't want to listen to it right now.
Cyprus, you must.
That he's already gone. Otherwise, he would have been noticed.
I'm gonna go sit with Cypress and just pull him in.
Apollo stands. You underestimate how cunning the plague can be. My heart tells me he still lives. And that may be wishful thinking. But I have also seen what this plague is capable of. How devious it can be in its entirety. These are parlor tricks.
Well, wouldn't it have infected him?
It is hard to say. But we will get no answers from here. From this. He looks down at the body. What were you gonna say, Astrid?
When I had scryed on Astarion before in the past and seen him in his room, would I know that what I was looking for with that intent would have truly been Astaria?
Yes.
Okay. And this happened recently. When I saw Astaria on Cyprus, it was his true self. His soul that was sought out. He's not gone. You know him. You know how smart he is. A light like that does not burn away so quickly. I have hope for him. And she'll go to hug him as well.
I thought I knew what my worst fear was. He'll lean into it.
Go find him.
Davos comes over to the now smoldering remains of this creature. He kicks it with a boot. I told you I did not like him. There was something amiss. He looks over at Cypress with a very intense, very serious face. No one who you say loves you as much as you spoke endlessly of him would have reacted the way that he did when he saw you. He looks over to Apollo, clenching like fists around his spear at his side. Whatever you need, command it, and my spear is yours. There is a resoluteness to Davos's face. And Apollo, now standing from where he had been kneeling in front of Cyprus, looks over to the rest of the Orphics. If they have taken interest in securing the palace, then that means that they were waiting to see where you would go. Did anybody else travel with you into the passages that led here?
No.
There was briefly before we left. Wait, did he leave before I ever saw him, the historian?
I think so.
I think so.
Was there anyone else you told that we were coming down here?
We had talked about a historian, but
What was it?
we didn't get much more from him than we already knew.
No,
Did
did you
Andreas
tell him
know?
you were coming down here under the temple?
Did Andreas know?
I don't know if we actually told him that. I gotta go find my notes now.
It sounds like
I
maybe
believe
two
you
at
didn't.
most.
You had mentioned something of finding things that were in the vaults, but he had dismissed it because he had said that there wasn't anything in there, and then you had just said that you were going to be looking around. So you hadn't said it
Okay.
specifically to him that I recall. And Andreas had left way before any of that conversation had gone down.
Out of character, have we been told that the plague accesses someone's memories?
Yes.
Like, okay, because I was gonna
That
be
was-
like, wait, how did he know how to come down here?
That's why one of the first things he had said was if it gets to your brain, that's how it gets all the information.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it reads your mind, in other words.
Yeah, I remember Lord Ares has been adamant that, hey, it's going to try to pretend to be the people you love. And that's why I know that my son is dead, you know? So.
Andreas noticed the shift in Estarian as well. Outside of character.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the very end there.
That young man that was with not a stallion. Do you think he could have been involved in this masquerade? And I know we don't know, but could be a lead.
Your mind start going back to Asterion wanting to stay by the door.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed hurt.
Oh, glad we made him come in here.
Yo. These wanted to stay near the entryway rather than come with us. Perhaps to let conspirators in.
If Andreas is in on it, I don't. That seems a lot of steps.
There is an issue. Cyprus. This man who pretends to be Asterion, he said the queens have a sort of a key to get into here.
They might be after the scepter. The keys.
Hmm.
We need to get back then as soon as possible. Warn them.
Well, perhaps now that he is dead, you did not have a chance to tell anybody that we were here. Maybe it's still okay. I don't know.
Cyprus, what would you say is going on in your head right now?
Cyprus is pretty much only thinking of bad possibilities. Not fully aware of what Beldur or the plague could be planning. It doesn't make sense to him of why Asterion at this point, even if he's alive, would be spared. And not infected, not in danger, still. So he's trying to push these thoughts down, but he, for the most part, is rather overwhelmed with the fact that this has even happened this far means that Asterion is either doomed or dead.
Apollo has been staring at you very intently. He looks over to everybody else. I know that I can trust those of you who are present now. This place has enough power, if used in the wrong hands, or in the right ones, to have a reaction. I built it as a last resort, in case the plague was to spread across the world. We do not want this to spread in and amongst new stars. It has to be stopped here. As of right now, we do not have to worry about that, as they have not conquered the world. But this great power can be used for many things. It can be used for destruction. It can be used for He looks over at Laertes. Do you know the limits of your powers?
Yeah.
And you would have what? The barest concept of what you can do, correct? With what little power you have in comparison?
I have ideas.
Imagine what 700 years worth of storing power as great as mine could do to someone who could channel and possess it. I linked Krios as a failsafe, but that power can also be absorbed. This is one of the dangers of our ability, is absorbing too great of a power. But if someone were able to do so, they could remake things as they saw fit.
Anyone with Orphic power or a fragment could absorb it.
A fragment who's been absorbing Orphics and has hidden themselves away out of the sight of all others. A devious one indeed.
There was a woman we tried to help. She reminded Phoebe and I so much of ourselves. We thought we had maybe cured her. I hope it is true. I told the Tithia in a letter to send sisters to watch over her. But with the gravity of all of this, with what just happened, I feel like you need to know.
I know the girl you speak of. While yes, she is infected, it bides its time within her. For what purpose, I do not know.
And so the infection will need to be taken care of.
Potentially. Even 1,000 years after the fall, there are so many things we do not know about how it operates. By all understanding, the creatures that were turned to monsters in this time should have continued to grow, to infect. That's what was expected. But instead, they have not. They've been hunted down. Some have gone into hiding. Some just die out. Without someone to control them, they don't operate the same way.
Herpes.
Who-
Harpies,
Ah,
the chimera.
The sea
The-
monster.
But now that the fragment is loose, something that had taken a part of Orphic mind with it, several Orphic minds with it, you see them rallying again, acting out again. The only way we can be sure that this plague perhaps might simply remain dormant is to destroy the one who is controlling it.
we know it is somewhere here. We must find it. Before it finds you.
I think it is already too late for that. If Phoben is in the city, he will be waiting. He
You
will
still
be
call him
looking.
Phobin.
I knew the boy once.
The
Desperate,
power.
a desperate child who wanted his father's attention. But you're right. Phobos is perhaps a better moniker. What are you gonna say, Phoebe?
The power stored in this place. If an Orphic were to take it, would that be the end of them?
Depends.
It was the only way to keep Phobos from getting it.
It could be.
The Mesto is gonna slowly turn and look at Phoebe.
Failsafes. Plan Omega.
Just not let it get to that.
How many cities is this connected to?
The entirety of the Mediterranean. Any obelisk that you have seen, any sanctuary, any ruin, any old colony of ours, they're all connected to a titan of sorts, a Krios. But I have linked this one with the others. As I said, it is a failsafe and only I know how to activate it. at least that destructive potential.
You said it could be used in less destructive ways
Potentially.
to remake. What do you mean?
At one time, shortly after they fall, Zeus used a great amount of power to remake things. You've seen the effects of some of these. He forbade the Olympians to speak of our origins unless they had been already known to a degree. It is the loophole that Hecate wields so well, luring young Orphics to the truth, so that they might in turn ask questions, so they might in turn seek out answers that otherwise none of you would have searched for. Well, maybe you, Laertes. The name of our capital was erased from all written records, so that few would also seek out the origins of what became our downfall here. But these wishes have a way of creating for themselves ways around. And for some reason I was spared. I know not what his third one was. But if a being could successfully channel the power of this stored battery that I have created, it could be a wish. I don't think Phobos knows of it, though. This is more of you must know so that in case I fall. But as
I have seen that once, I don't want to see that again.
Nor do I. So I must learn what it is that Phobos exactly wants. And I feel that the only way to do that is to give him a portion of what he wants.
You're not going to give him yourself.
No,
Good.
you are. You have to find a way to garner his attention. You must find him.
Is he looking at me specifically when he says that, or all of us?
All of you.
Okay.
You must find a way to get his attention. Once he is found, then we can try and rein him in.
Here?
All of
You're not
us.
let him near the battery.
All of us. This fight cannot happen here. A misstep, and we will set the world afire. Before it is time to do so.
He wants Orphics with power. I could show him Orphics with power. We've been dancing around him for city to city to city.
I'm sure you will not be alone.
He seems to want nothing more than to disgrace the gods He is upset with all of you. He wants you to be afraid.
He has succeeded. We are. But this
But
is
if we were not to show it, perhaps that could incense him.
indeed. But it would mean
Using ourselves as bait.
and if he has a portion of what power Baldura had, he need just look at you and he can see into your fears. To be mindful, whatever he shows you.
We've seen some of that powder before.
And Lady Hecate tried to prepare us for this.
No, even beyond that, remember? At Atlas,
Aye.
you had me in chains.
But we broke through.
I'm ready.
One further follow-up, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I suppose I shouldn't be telling Ares that someone else is capable of sensing Baldura, the plague. When I told him I could do it, he said it was the first time he'd ever heard of it.
As
You
I
can
said.
do
As I said. No, go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
You can do it by touch. I can sense an area.
How far?
Half a mile, but it doesn't really seem to work here. For all the obvious reasons.
He looks over past you out to the globe of fire outside of the windows. A gamble, then.
But that would alert them to their prize.
It would put it would put blood in the water. They may not know where the blood comes from, though.
Is there not a way to maybe shorten the distance, but cut through all the noise? You've been at this for 700 years. I'm sure you've thought of something.
I have an idea. But it would require some rather precise timing.
That I can do.
We're gonna say.
At the same time that you want to do this, Astrid wants to try and reach out to find Astarion. If she can. If the opportunity is presenting itself.
Yeah.
to do that.
Then to the surface with you.
Sorry, who are you saying that to?
All of them. All of you.
Oh, okay. Look around to the others.
Before we go, what does MK unit mean?
Mortal Kombat.
That's
This is
where
my
I keep
arcade
my
rack, don't worry
arcade.
about it.
Yeah.
I gotta do something down here. I'm bored.
This is an NK unit. He looks down at his body.
Okay.
Does it stand for mortal coil? Because that would be really hilarious.
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all I've ever needed. That's all I've ever wanted. I'll see myself out. I'm just so happy.
To the surface then.
Whatever happens next. He squints over at Laertes. Is that indeed Cleosite?
Made it myself. I did
Oh.
have help from a acolyte of Hephaestus, though, to refine it.
Hephaestus has always been rather ingenuitous, whatever that word is. I don't know how to properly,
Ingenious.
yeah, there you go. Has been a rather ingenious thorn in everyone's sides.
I feel like I'd get along with him if I had the chance.
Let us pray that you do. I
The
have...
mister kind of chuckles at him saying, "Let us pray that you do."
Who'd be listening to those prayers? I want to know.
Yeah, it's like, to
Praying to
hear Lord
himself.
Apollo saying, "Let us pray to someone."
Or is that just their shorthand for sending each other like instant messages?
I mean, it's kind of what the mister's been doing with sending, kind of
Yeah.
morphing and blending.
Yeah.
Dear Hephaestus, I really like science and physics. I just want you
Can
to
I
know
please,
that
please, please,
appreciate
please be your intern?
it.
Please.
I have 16 doctorates. I am overqualified.
Hold on 1 second. I have an idea then. We shall see if this works.
Are you going to share the idea, or is it more like find out as it happens?
I don't want to ruin the surprise. He smiles. I shall give you all a blessing. Come with me. He stands up and goes out to the doorway. It opens. He stands on the balcony as you guys file out. The mortal coil shuts down and the light leaves it, and his body just kind of goes into rest. The brilliant sun in the center of this cave begins to glow brightly, crackling with energy. And as it does so, a solar flare, very akin to Phoebe's wings, like launches out, spirals in, and then flies out again, and splits into 6 directions, striking each of you. Zoop, 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 and Davos. Poof. You gain the benefits of a hero's feast. And a long rest. In other words, well, there's more to this. Hold on. Long rest. So if you need to recast or redo some spells for whatever's coming, this is your opportunity.
Good, I get my flying. and my
Nothing's
key points
about to
back.
happen. There's definitely no.
Yeah.
I was literally gonna be like, can we take a little nap before we go back to the surface?
So you are
Curl
going.
puddle on the floor of the laboratory.
Yeah. Hold on one second. You get resistance to poison damage, which, is what it is. But you also have an immunity to the frightened and poisoned conditions.
Okay.
Your hit point maximum increases by 2d10, and this lasts for 24 hours.
Are you gonna roll that?
I can.
Okay. And with some saving throws with advantage.
Yes.
Me.
You get 14 more hit points.
Nice.
I'll take it.
This is added to our max for the next
24
2
hours.
hours?
Yeah, so temporary
24.
hit points of 14 hit points.
Use poison.
And if we lose those, are they gone?
Those are gone. Yeah.
Okay.
Poison and what was the other? Sorry.
Frightened conditions.
Right.
So that's just as temp HP, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Laertes, you just doubled your health.
My health isn't that bad. I think mine's
It's your
actually
AC that's terrible.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
my HP is actually higher than a few other people.
You get the benefits of the long rest, and you're gonna level up.
Ooh.
Hey.
Ooh. Neat.
Nice.
Oh my
Wait, we get things at level 8.
Yeah.
I could actually change my AC here.
A level up from the will of Apollo. I love it.
That's really cool.
You see, for
Does Davos just become more jacked, or
Davos's armor
Full
begins.
Captain America with like the helicopter, like veins are just.
yeah, this was the pre-super serum, Steve. Now we're getting the actual Captain America Davos.
The armor that he was wearing begins to glow with this same kind of glow that Cypress does.
And since he's got like the scale pattern and everything, I imagine the kind of a shimmer.
As the light fills all 6 of you, he resumes his habitation in the android. Looks back to you. Looks over to the Misto. It might be a little early, but here's your first paladin.
Ooh, that's cool. That's awesome.
Beware of what you see out there. He looks to Cypress. I'm sorry that you had to face a harsh truth so quickly. But I have a feeling that you all will see more horrors before this night is done. Steel yourselves. But do not fail to hope. We have not given up hope. I would expect you would not either. Be gone. And he casts teleport on you 6.
Oh, I wanted to try to hug him before we left.
Just the Apollo version of no touchy touchy.
The 6 of you arrive in the Boulevard of Broken Dreams. The night has fallen, and Thebes is on fire.
Ooh. Okay.
In the sky, you can see harpies and flying chimeras circling. You see amongst them winged individuals fighting them as well. A battle rages in Thebes.
These winged individuals are akin to Athena and her crew.
Mm-hmm. Prepare for the fight. We'll roll for initiative next week. Or next time. As one bonus thing, both Astrid and Laertes, once you're up on the surface, the buzzing stops as the Krios has been deactivated for a brief moment in time.
Like grab Cypress.
Undid the thing.
Your minds go in like different directions, basically. You find that your sense has expanded, Laertes, within a mile. A clarity that you've not had before. And it didn't take the city being on fire and under siege to know that you guys feel vastly outnumbered. Small pinpricks of light scatter across your field of senses, but you can sense several large clusters of brilliant negative energy. You turn your head in that direction. Astrid, as you clutch onto Cypress, your eyes go that starry white. The star field like expands in his eyes as he tries to locate. And your head just kind of keeps turning, looking in your mind's eye through this mental compass of where he could be. And then you see him. He lives. You turn your head in that direction. And both Astrid and Laertes point. Going that way. And they point in unison to the Temple District.
We're fighting at the Aphrodite temple. Oh gosh. Okay.
Oh boy.
It's gonna be a very sexy fight.
I hope so. Whew, I got my work cut out for me on this one. It's good. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Cypress, get your man. Woo! Doggy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh
I'm
boy.
gonna say, Cypress, your prince is in another castle.
Oh no!
That's like Mario getting into the first castle, Toad
Yeah.
stabbing Peach in the cheesecake.
Oh, that's a visual.
Look at me, look at me, look at me. I am the princess now.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, that was heckin' exciting. Good job, guys. You're here. You're on the precipice. The precipice. It's gonna be a wild time. Give me a solid week to build out this map. It's fine. It'll all be fine. You press pass. Pass. Exactly. Pass. You're flaming man. The puss. Oh, Hunter, I love you. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. Looking forward to coming back to this in 2 weeks. So next Tuesday we'll be having a slight deviation. Give me a little extra time to prepare.
Oh, yeah, I don't think we announced that this morning.
Yeah.
I mean,
think
not
did.
morning, beginning
Yes.
of the stream.
Yeah. I feel like I did. I think I did, but I don't think I went into it as much. We will be doing a reunion of sorts to our Game of Santos crew. It took me a minute to remember the name this time. Now that I'm trying to think of it.
So hard not to say it.
We'll be doing a
Game
little
of Phobos.
Game of Phobos. A little Game of Santos reunion for the birthday of one of our old players. We'll be looking forward to some of those shenanigans. We will see you tomorrow for some vampire shenanigans. We'll see you Thursday for some other
Innovation shenanigans.
Innovative shenanigans. And then Friday for some Star Wars shenanigans. This is shenanigans what's it called? Every day, all the time? No, something like that. It's called, I don't know. There's a phrase that was in there
Won't stop the shenanigans.
there will be no shenanigans in my class. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you gotta put your foot down, Ash. Just put your foot down. Tell Solomon to stop pointing because pointing is rude. All that kind of stuff. But we'll see you next time. And as always, stay fey, be brave. The safe word is mango, and that's no moon. That's Apollo, and he's a sun, or something like that. I don't know.